Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 app guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at Forest Challenge. But before that, this video is brought to you by Squiggy486 and Patrick Queenier. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Forest Challenge map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now, this map is a fairly small download at 166 megabytes in size, and it's actually a smaller map than standard size. So it's a pretty small map comparatively. As you can see from the user ratings, this map isn't for everyone, but it's probably for someone. So if the map's not for you, that's fine. I've got an FS25 map guide playlist. I'll put a little tick in the upper right corner. It's got nearly 80 maps in it so far, so there's probably a map in there that's better suited for your interests. Let me read some of the description. I present to you the RunForestRun map that I have created for those who want to cut wood or are looking for a challenge. The challenge is to cut your way out of the forest to create an area. Then you can cut your way into the land. You get to decide what you want to do. You can start with 0 money because you get the tools and the land with 1 handover, and the rest is up to you. Now, you do not start out with a chainsaw. It shows you have a chainsaw in your equipment, but you can't activate it. I can't find it anywhere. So you really shouldn't start out with 0 money because there's no way to get money until you have a chainsaw. Just saying. There's a lot of wood that you can only carry with a small tractor and loader first. So I thought this meant that there was wood lying on the ground. There isn't. At least I couldn't find it. So I'm not really sure what's meant here. I urge everyone to start the rescue in easy game mode. That way you get the most money for your logs. And you need to buy a chainsaw first. You definitely do. And then you can buy bigger loading machines. What you're going to find on this map are some stones, more like some rock painted textures, I believe. There's also a piece of land that you can cut through the forest if you want. There's no water source, and good luck. With that, let's jump back over here to the map. Now, I think maybe there's a bit of lost in translation issue there with the description because it didn't really make a ton of sense until I got into the map and I really saw what was going on. And that is, you start out here, Farmland ID 1, which you could buy if you do not own it at the start, for $0. So pretty much a 0 money investment, even if you pick to not own the farm at the start. Even if you do not own the farm at the start, you do start out with your starting machinery, which is basically going to be your tractor, front loader arms, log grapple, and this log loading trailer. In addition, here at the main starting area, you do have a starting farmhouse. That is the tent. So we have our sleep trigger and our wardrobe trigger. We have the only sell point on the map replaced, and that is here. We can sell grains, we can sell bales, we can sell logs here. If you do want to get into animals, well, we have the animal dealer trigger. Also right here at our clearing. And we have our vehicle shop located here. And we have our dealer trigger located right here. And you can see that it's basically going to be the area in this location that the trigger is active. You can also see where your machinery spawns when you load in. So you've got this area here, kind of a clearing. And then the rest of this map is completely covered with logs or trees, I guess I should say. It's a forest, after all. Other than Field 4. Field 4 has mostly been cleared away. You'll see there is a little bit of trees kind of encroaching on the border of the field. But this is the only possible area where you could possibly make any money at the start. And that would be doing contracts on this field. But you'd have to get to this field by driving through the forest, which, well, we got to go that way. May or may not be the easiest thing to do because any machinery that is spawned for the contract is, of course, going to spawn over at the dealer. That's why I'm not really sure you can really start with 0 money, because depending on your crop that is loaded when you load in your save, well, you may or may not be able to really get over to this field without clearing away some trees and such. Now let's go back here to the escape menu, because I kind of jumped the shark a little bit with this description. You see the map here, the PDA, and this is a map that is smaller than standard size. So if we zoom all the way out, we can imagine that, well, our PDA would typically be, you know, in this general vicinity that I'm outlining with the mouse now. So we're looking at a map that's maybe a fourth or smaller than a standard size map. We do have all the crops available to us in Farm Sim 25 available on the map if you do want to grow them here on Field 4, or if you clear out the land, carve up your own fields, and make your way that way. With respect to our precision farming soil map, I don't need to show you the soil map because the only thing we're going to see is this little segment right here. But it is using the base game generic soil map that is a part of the precision farming mod. With respect to land that you own at the start, you start out by owning farmland ID 1, which we already said was $0 if you do not own the starting farm. And we have farmland ID 6, which you could buy for $484,700. In addition to that, there are various farmlands scattered around this circular play area, and farmland ID 4 is going to include the field and the forestry. Farm ID 63 is going to be a couple little fringe areas around the corners of the map, and basically the entirety of the outside of the map play area. $23 million to buy that. So I think that's a little bit out of everyone's price range, at least at the start. We do have our standard FS25 crop counter on this map, so if we do get around to growing crops, we do know when we can plant and harvest. We do not have any animals pre-placed. We do have contracts on Field 4, right? So we can start out by earning $1,400 to weed Field 4. That would definitely get us close, if not enough money to buy our chainsaw. I don't remember how much chainsaw costs off the top of my head. There are no productions built in or pre-placed on this map. Therefore, we definitely don't own any productions either. We have the one sell point, as I mentioned, at our starting area. We start out with a small bit of starting machinery. While this says we have the chainsaw, we don't, because we can't actually activate it. We're not actually holding it at the start. And I've looked around the map as best I can to see if this is just lying somewhere, like someone just put it down and walked off. I can't find it. So I'm not really sure where this is located. And this map does not have any collectibles. Let's make our way back over here. We're on our way back to the starting area anyway. And we can talk a little bit about maybe what this map is about. This map is all about clearing away a forest and defining your own game area. We do have a bit of flat terrain, and we have some very hilly terrain. But ultimately, the map is what you make of it. And if you want to get in here and maybe accept the challenge, can I clear the entirety of the map in order to basically clear the area of trees and then have an area where I could plant crops, carve up fields, build a little town? That is completely possible. Maybe you want to accept the challenge to clear your way from this starting area over here to Field 4, and then start doing a little bit of agriculture on Field 4. All right, that's available. Now, it's overall map performance. This map runs extremely well. On my low-end test system, I was getting frames in the mid to upper 40s. And that, of course, with frame gen equates out to 80 to 90 FPS. Given the amount of trees on this map, then that's pretty darn good as far as performance goes. So you shouldn't have any issue whatsoever with respect to map performance on your console or your PC. If your game runs at all, then it should run pretty good here with respect to the Forest Challenge map. Now, I do want to talk about one little thing that I noticed when I was just looking around, and it doesn't really relate to the map so much as to what it's going to be like to drive around. Because you may notice the tractor's sunk in quite a bit. The log loader is sunk in quite a bit. Our Mahindra is sunk in quite a bit, and it doesn't weigh a lot. All of the ground on this map seems to act like it's mud. And the fact that your tractor really digs some pretty major ruts. Pretty deep ruts for gravel. Pretty deep ruts for dirt. Pretty deep ruts for forest ground. And I've really never seen rock just completely rut up like this. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure why the ground deforms so much. But I think it can really impact your ability to get around on this map. So maybe the ground's just defined weird. Because this is a bit much, in my opinion, and all I did was just get a tractor and drive. Right? Imagine trying to go back and forth, cut trees. You're going to have this whole place rutted up in no time. So guys, that is pretty much the gist of Forest Challenge. There's not a lot going on. Its premise is pretty straightforward. Cut down trees, clear off land, achieve your goals, and that's what this map is really all about. Is it for everyone? No. Is it for someone? Probably. And if that someone's you, great. If that someone's not you, fine. There's plenty of maps out there. You don't need to get all nasty and angry about how the map doesn't suit your desires. And until next time, happy farming.